Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You say that you want to be successful, financially free, become a good parent, but the people that you have around you are none of these things. You convince yourself that you are spending some time on the things that you're passionate about, your side projects or side hustles, but remember, the people you are competing against are not only outworking you, the circle that they have around them align with their vision and values. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the friends that you have around you and why it's so important for you to choose wisely, not just for you, but for your child too. So whether you're a parent or not, stick around. You do not want to miss this episode. Let's get started. Friendships are more than just people you spend your time with. They are the forces that shape our future. And I heard this wonderful analogy that if parenting is the soil in which we grow our children, then friends are like the sun and the rain, capable of both nurturing or stunting the growth of your child. But how often do we as parents think about the children our child spends their time with? So this week I've been thinking a lot about friends. What does it mean to be a good friend? How do you spot them and why it's so important? And most importantly, how your child's choices in friends ripple far beyond the playground. So, what does it mean to be a good friend? So, the Aristotle conversation refers to Aristotle's philosophy on the nature of friendship. So, Aristotle is a Greek philosopher and he wrote about many things. So, in his book, The Nicomachean Ethics, and I've definitely pronounced that wrong, he talks about three main types of friends, or he categorizes them into three parts. The first is a friendship of utility, and these are based on shared usefulness. So an example of this may be business partners, where you're benefiting from one another, but the connection dissolves as soon as the usefulness ends. The second is friendships of pleasure. So these are based on shared enjoyment, such as having fun, but they are often temporary, lasting only as long as the shared pleasure. The third, and the one that we should be striving towards, is called friendships of virtue. And these are the deepest and most enduring friendships. And they're formed between people that share the same values and moral character. And what I took from this was that we should aim to have friends that our vision, our values, our goals are all aligned. And therefore our standard is high. We are walking on the same path, going towards the same goal. And therefore at any point in life, which we all do, we stumble and fall, we get lazy, then they will take us to task and they will hold us to account. These are the type of friends that you want. And if we have a high standard of friends, then that too will be passed on to your child. And they will be seeking friends that have high standards too. This is why a friendship of virtue is so important, and it's important that we not only seek it out for ourselves, we help our children seek out the same. So, why is it so important for us to have good friends? The reason why it's so important is because bad friends have the potential to undo years of careful parenting. The lessons you've instilled, the values that you've nurtured, they can all be derailed by the wrong type of influence. There will come a time, and we've talked about this before, Steve Bidoff gives different stages of parenting. And in the last stage, there will come a time where your child will be seeking advice and mentorship from people outside the family circle. And this is why it's so important, because this will ultimately become friends that they have around them. So the question is, as a parent, have you done everything in your power to make sure that your child chooses the right friend? So before we move forward, let's just make one thing clear. When I talk about good or bad children, I don't mean good or bad. What I'm trying to say is children that make good choices or bad choices. As a teacher, I firmly believe that nothing's set in stone. It's just people that are making more good choices than bad and vice versa. So when it comes to Isa, I tell him the exact same thing. There are no good or bad children. They just make one choice or the other more often. So he has two criteria. When he's looking for a friend, he'll have two criteria. And I will tell him more and more as he gets older. The first is, does the child make more good choices than bad? And the second is he walking on the same path, and are you heading in the same direction? By path, I refer to character. Does he have the characters that we encourage in this house? And is the direction the same? Is your goal the same in life? Whether that be aspirations in terms of business, achieving something, a legacy, or religious goals as well. Do these two things align? And if they do, then the likelihood is that this person is going to be a good influence on you. So let's be honest. My child is no angel at all. He makes good and bad choices every single day. As a parent, it's my job to ensure that he's making more good choices than bad, but also he stays grounded in his values and beliefs. And not only that, but he's aware, it's very clear to him what good and bad choices mean and what our values, the direction, our path all is. So when he sees someone that's similar to him in that respect, he can identify and say, yes, this is going to be my guy. So that is what I mean by good and bad. Make your child into the friend that you wish you were. So this part, I'm going to talk about my personal history. And like I said, this week I've been thinking a lot about my journey of being a friend. And if I'm brutally honest, when I was younger, I was not a good friend at all. I made so many bad choices and things that I'm not proud of, things that I regret to this day. And there'll be times within the week and the month, even this month, where I'll think about what would have been if I didn't make such a stupid mistake. But you can't change the past, and regret alone achieves nothing. But what I've learned is that what you can do is use that regret as fuel to make better choices today, but more importantly, to make sure that your child doesn't make the same mistakes that you did, so that your child could become the friend that you wish you were when you were younger. Raising a child isn't just about ensuring that they make the right choices. It's about shaping them into the type of person that other people are drawn to, friends others aspire to have. If we want our child to be surrounded by good influences or people of good character, then they themselves need to be good influences and people of good character. And that starts at home, with the lessons that we teach them and the standards we set our children. So this week I've been thinking a lot about these qualities and what they should be. And I came up with such a long list that it's not feasible to have such a long list. So I tried to narrow it down to 3 main qualities, which I can keep repeating to Easter, and hopefully over time, hopefully it will stick. So the first quality is to ensure that they make the right choices. Not perfect ones, because no one's perfect, but choices that reflect integrity, kindness, and a willingness to do what's right even when it's hard. The second quality is help them understand what it means to be a good friend. A friend who shares what they have, a person who steps up when someone's in trouble or in need, and someone who stays true to their values and beliefs, even when it's difficult. The last one are 2 things merged together. The first is respect, and the second is sociability. So I think it's so important for me to teach my children to honor their elders, and not out of an obligation, but from an understanding that from them comes so much wisdom and experience, things that we can learn from. Learn from the mistakes they've made, that they've paid a heavy price, and we get to learn that for free. The second is encouraging them to be social, making sure that they're talking to people, saying hi, hello, shaking hands, asking how they are, and I think that is so important. Whether that's with older people or even people their own age. Even though internally we may feel that our goal and values are not aligned, there's no reason for us not to be sociable, be kind, be polite, be helpful. Okay, because we can make a distinction with people that we know and people that we wish to pursue as friends. And there's nothing wrong, And even if we don't feel that our values are aligned, there's never going to be a reason for you to be rude to someone or for you to judge them and think that you're better than them. It's just that what we want in life are different. And that's absolutely fine. In the end, we don't want our children just to have good friends. We want them to be good friends, because the kind of person that they grow up to be will determine the kind of people that will be attracted to them. And ultimately, it will choose the kind of life that they will eventually have. This week I've been researching a lot about friendships, friends, circles that we have, and why it's so important. And over the week, I've consumed so much information in the way of books, literature, online, podcasts, videos, and there are two pieces of information which stood out the most to me. And these are the two things I wanted to share with you guys today. So the first line is from Pena, and he says the following: "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." And this line cuts straight to the truth. The people that you surround yourself with are more than just your companions. They are a mirror reflecting your values, your ambitions, and ultimately your trajectory in life. Think about it. Friendships aren't passive. They shape who you are and who you are going to become. So if you're surrounded by people who aspire to grow, they inspire you to aim higher, hold you accountable when you don't, then it's very likely your future has that of an upward momentum. But if you have a circle that they're not very aspirational, they're complacent, negative, they're happy doing their 9 to 5, they don't really want to change the life that they have right now, then the likelihood is you will fall into that same category, and it's impossible to break free from those chains. Now, if someone is happy spending their time Monday 9 to 5 working, and in the evenings spending their time watching Netflix, playing video games, they don't have any other aspirations, they're happy with what they have right now and the legacy that they going to leave behind, then so be it, that's fine. You know, it's not our position or place to judge someone, because if they're content and happy, that's really what we are all trying to aspire to. If that's truly their peace and contentment in that, then that's absolutely fine, and I'm so happy for them. But if in your heart there's a burning desire, there's passion, you want something more, and you're not staying true to that passion and that desire, that's when you're falling short of who you should become. And that's when you need to start thinking about the circle that you have and what needs to change. This same exact thought applies to your child. The friends that they have are the architects of their environment. So the children that are around them, the mindset that they have, the paradigm that they live in, the habits that they have, that is also the environment your child will soon become. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And that's why it's so important for us as parents to make sure, number one, they know how to spot a good friend, that they're good friends themselves, and they make the right decision of choosing the people within their circle. So the second piece of wisdom that I came across was the words of Rohn, and I've mentioned this before already. And he says that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it got me thinking that this changes over time. So when a child is young, they're still growing, the 5 people are likely going to be you, your wife, siblings, family, friends, or other family members around you. But as they get older, those friends tend to change. And they need to be able to have the self-awareness to look around the 5 people that they spend the most time with and understand, are these the people that I want to be associated with? Do they have the same values? Do they have the same goals that I do? If I was to follow them in the path that we are going on right now, then where would that take me? Where would that end up? And is that the same vision and the same goal that I've been taught all my life to follow? And if it is, then great, you're doing the right thing. But if it isn't, then they need to be self-aware to understand that I need to change the circle that I'm with. And I heard this really good analogy, and I'm going to read this out to you. And it says the following: think of friends like the wind in your sails. A steady, purposeful wind pushes them forward, keeping them on course towards their goals. But a chaotic wind, unfocused, unpredictable, leaves them drifting, or worse, pulls them off course entirely. Their friends aren't just passengers on their journey. They're the force that decides how far they'll go and whether they'll ever reach the destination they're meant to reach. To summarize today's episode, we touched upon the following key principles. The first was, what does it mean to be a good friend? And we touched upon Aristotle's 3 categories of friendship. And the one we are trying to aspire towards is the third, which is the friendship of value. The second is making sure that we teach our children the criteria of what a good friend is. So the one that makes more good choices than bad, and someone that is walking on the same path and towards the same direction as they are. The third was looking at regret and using that as fuel to be the friend that we wish we were when we were younger, and using that as fuel, not just to make our everyday decisions better, but also ensuring that we can pass that on to our own children. The fourth point was the 3 qualities, so teaching them what it means to make good choices, what it means to be a good friend, and instill within them respect and sociability. And the last 2 are the words of wisdom from Pena and Rohn. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's all from me today. I hope that you've derived some benefit from today's episode, and if you have and you found some value, then please like and subscribe to my channel, forward it to your friends and family or anyone you feel may benefit from what I've talked about today. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you all next episode.